Hello, everyone, and welcome to Surrogacy Australia's webinar. I'm your host, Anna Mackay, and my co host, Jess, and her husband, Ryan, live with their blended family of 8 children in Launceston, Tasmania. She birthed the little boy, Mason, as a surrogate in February 2025. Jess met dad, Joel, through a Facebook post and reached out to offer to be his surrogate. Joel is a single dad and has moved from WA back to Tasmania to navigate surrogacy. Jess has also been an egg donor, having donated to 2 families with plans for more. So, welcome, Jess. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Jess, I'm glad you're here. I guess take us back to the beginning. Tell me, why did you want to be a surrogate in the first place after having so many babies and children in your life? And then how did you find Joel?
So my first reason to be a surrogate was actually for myself. When I had my daughter, she was born prem by like so many hours. Like she was pretty much, she was born at 36 weeks and 6 days.
Right.
Um, and because she was before 37 weeks, she was classed as prem. And even though she was my sixth baby that I was giving birth to, the midwives there told me I had no idea what I was doing, that I'd never had a prem baby before, and I just felt like I couldn't touch her. So
Wow.
it was just a few hours before she would have been at 37 weeks, and I still felt like I couldn't touch her because she's prem. Like I might break her. Like it's not. I felt like she wasn't my baby, and I just felt robbed a little bit of that bit because the labor was fine until that moment, and I just felt like I'd lost power. So I
Oh,
wanted to go through labor again and be the person that's in control. Like it's my body, it's my labor.
yeah.
But I didn't want any more kids, and my husband didn't want any more kids. So I wasn't sure how to fulfill that. And then came across Joel's post on Facebook
Mm.
and saw all these awesome pictures of this awesome looking person. And I was like, what is this person sharing? I have to read this because a lot of my friends had shared this post. So I didn't
Ah,
know what it was even about. And then I started reading it and I thought, this is what will solve my issue. Like, I want to go through labor and I love helping people. So, yeah, I
yeah.
reached out and thought that didn't know much about surrogacy. So I was like, oh, I'm guessing like heaps of people have offered. And so, yeah, I messaged Joel and he was a bit vague to start off with, but chatting lots. And I was like, oh, this is my kind of person. I love to chat.
Yes.
And then I learnt quickly that he can't ask. I didn't realize that you can't ask. So I had to offer first. And yeah, and
Wow.
yeah, that's how it started.
That's cool. So ultimately, Joel's post was being shared, and so friends of friends shared it. And so that's really empowering for IPs to hear that sometimes you've got to be brave and vulnerable, and you can't directly ask somebody to be a surrogate, but you can say, to be able to have a family, I need to find one. And you can
Yeah.
word it in a particular way.
Yeah.
And
Putting up their journey.
yeah, right. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, you connected with Joel, who by that point was back in Tasmania.
Yeah.
But as when we have Joel on the webinar in 2 weeks, I guess we'll go into more detail about that lead up to meeting you because it was many steps he'd been through before you, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, what's the distance between you guys in terms of travel?
About an hour and a half.
Right.
Yeah.
And so then what, you started chatting and then at some point in time met in person and then this becomes sorry dating, I guess.
Yeah. So I talked to Joel constantly for the start of it all, and then like talked to my husband a bit about it, and then we decided to meet up at the park, not far away from my house,
Mhm.
and instantly we all connected. It was like Joel was an old friend, like a brother, like him and Ryan are like best mates straight away.
Yeah, right. I wonder if that was probably a bit nerve-wracking for you and Joel. It's a bit like dating, you're all meeting and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I did say to my husband, I said, like, you've got to like date first. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's just sorrow dating. Like, it's not dating. Like, and it's okay. Like, Joel's not interested in me that way.
no, we're not going to be intimate
No, he just
together.
wants one thing from me. He wants me to be his oven.
That's it, right. Okay, so then you went on the sorry dating journey and spending time getting to know each other in the counselling and the legals. Anything about that process that springs to mind that's worth mentioning?
No, it was a very long, tedious. Or maybe it was more our clinic that we had, but being in Tassie, we've only got one clinic we can go through. And I had was emailing them all the time, like reminding them, "Hi, we're here. Any updates?" Like I felt like I was nagging, but I was like, "There's nothing wrong with me nagging." So I just yeah kept emailing them when we didn't hear anything for a while, just to try and get the ball rolling.
Mm. And I sometimes hear in some places where surrogacy is newish for clinics or certain states, and being Tasmania, they haven't had heaps of surrogacy. It's almost like you're leading them through it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember how long that process took then from when you saw that Facebook post to then meeting to doing all of the paperwork? Do you have any timelines?
I did, but I can never remember. Joel will be able to tell you next week more. He knows all this stuff more. But it was stepping back, it was pretty quick compared to some people's journeys. But yeah, it still felt like a while. I think I wanted to get pregnant sooner in my head for my plan of my life. I was hoping to already be pregnant by a certain time. Then they're like, oh, after Christmas, like we're shut up for Christmas time. So I had to wait longer and longer and longer. So to me,
Yeah.
it was a longer process. And I'm sure for Joel, he was already on a massive long journey. But
Mm,
yeah, if you compare it to other surrogates from once when they meet until they're pregnant, it was pretty fast, I think.
okay. It's jumping ahead just in terms of an age question. So you birthed in February of this year. How old were you at birth?
I had just turned 36.
Ah, I think we had said in a message, you were about
Yeah.
average, right?
Yeah, so that's the average apparently.
Yeah, so I've done some data collecting on that. So you were
Yeah.
spot average there. We've had lots of questions coming through tonight, which is fantastic. I'm going to just keep my eye on them, and if one happens to match where we're up to, I'm just going to ask. Um, So an anonymous person says, Jess, how long had you considered being a surrogate? And then how were or are your family with you on that journey? I suppose then, yeah, had you, I guess you'd enjoyed being pregnant and birth in some ways, but it was just maybe not. Okay. Shaking her head if you're on the podcast. But you wanted to feel to end it better.
Yeah, so years ago when surrogacy wasn't a thing that you could do in Australia, my mum and my stepdad were wanting kids and they didn't have any. And I did offer when I was in my first marriage, but then I didn't know it wasn't allowed. But in the end, they said, oh, thanks for the offer, but just give us some more grandkids. I obviously took that a bit too far and now given them eight.
Yes.
When that was said, I think we had maybe two. So
Right.
so yeah, so that's where surrogacy first I think came to my mind, and then maybe like a few movies here and there I'd see and hear about it, and then some
Mm,
TikToks, maybe
yeah.
Instagram. But yeah, it didn't really cross my mind until I saw Joel's post.
Yeah.
That's when I was
And I
like, oh,
think
that will solve my issues. Yeah,
yeah, that's it. And I think for surrogates, there is something that we get out of it as well. So for you, it
yeah,
was solve that issue, as you say.
yeah,
For me, it was I enjoyed being pregnant, giving birth, and wanted to help in a big way. So yes, we get something out of it too. Um,
yeah.
okay, so then you are going through the test with the IVF clinic. Did it work first embryo transfer or not?
No, it took us two goes. And
Two.
one thing that I don't think was talked about in the counselling or anything was what happens if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that surprised me. Like when Joel and I were together, when we knew it hadn't worked, but we hadn't got the call yet, but we are pretty sure and we're waiting for that call. And
Mm,
we felt devastated, but we hadn't really thought about like how we would feel if it doesn't work. It was all focusing on we hope it works, we hope it works. I was doing like 10 million tests a day. Sorry, Joel.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, then when we got told it didn't work, and then like that confirmation, we are like, oh, like what do we do now? So we went and did one. The only thing you can do is go get an alcoholic beverage. Like not pregnant, so I can drink.
That's true. I thought you were going to say go have a counselling session.
No, no,
Liquid counselling. Liquid.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
I think with our SASS teams too, that sometimes we touch base with them when we know that pregnancy attempts are starting, but if they're not working, because sometimes that can bring up emotions. And because often
yeah.
surrogates fall pregnant quite easily, so you're not used to this not happening.
Exactly. Yeah, I was devastated. I was like, "What?" I like look at a baby and I fall pregnant. So yeah, I feel like I felt like I was letting Joel down.
Indeed. And
Mm.
I know IP's listening go, my gosh, we don't feel like that. We're just so grateful to have the chance. But as surrogates, we want this for you, don't we? And
Yeah,
we feel like what has my body done that it couldn't do?
yeah,
So okay, so then it worked the second go, and
yeah.
then you're pregnant. And so I guess, you know, how was the pregnancy in comparison to your own?
It was the worst pregnancy I've ever experienced.
Oh
I
no.
was sick the whole time, so tired the whole time. It was horrible. I I think I even scared Joel a few times, and he was like, "Do you want to like get like to stop?" And I was like, "No, like it's fine." But yeah, then when Mason was born, though, all that got forgotten, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll do this again 10 times just to help other people to create families." Like such a giver. I love helping people. That's like one of my hobbies.
Yes. And people listening to that aren't surrogates crazy. Like you've just said, it was the worst pregnancy you've
Yeah.
had, seventh. But I do it again.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was hard. So it was tiring. It was heavy. You've got all your other
Yeah.
kids to manage. And so, what type of supports was Joel able to help you with, be it physical or pay for things or emotional support?
Well, his emotional support was, yeah, I'm tired too. Oh, yeah, I feel sick too. But then we did have one day where I had a hospital appointment and he came along with me and I started vomiting the whole thing, like the whole appointment in the bathroom. And so I think that woke him up a bit like, shit, okay, she actually is sick. Because he
Yeah.
hadn't actually witnessed it happen. He just heard me complaining and
Mm.
I think he just thought I was just complaining because I could. But no, he was a good support. He was like he's a fun person. We get along well. He's like my older brother, not younger.
Just pointing that point out. Thank you.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, he was good with that. And he, if he did pop around, he would offer to help with the kids, or he babysat the kids a few times in the first photo that you'll see soon. He's looking after them. So yeah, it was good. And if I was too sick, he would shout pizzas for everyone, which was Ryan's favourite thing. Being
Yeah.
a family of 10 and not having to cook dinner, he enjoyed having Domino's pizzas.
Absolutely. Yes. So it's some of those practical things that can really help.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of photos, yes, I'll share them now. So we'll go back to the slideshow. I think that's here. Give me a nod. That went back there. Yep. And so, yeah, so Joel got to know your family and, well, friends to some level as well. And so you said he helped out, with the kids. And so tell us what's going on in this photo.
Yeah, so this photo in Ulverston where Joel lives, there's a go-kart place where you hire the go-kart and go for a ride. And Oakland, he's in the red one, Brooklands with Joel. They have been asking forever if they could go on these go-kart things, or pedal carts, they're called. And so, yeah, Joel was brave because I'm not that brave, and he took them and they went on the pedal carts.
Mm, that's great practice for being dad, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he did tell me that he was like really keen for a girl and like when we didn't know if Mason was a girl or a boy. And then after having the boys for the a few days, he said, "Oh, I don't want a boy. I can just like throw him over the fence. Like if a ball goes over the fence, just chuck the kid over."
Chuck a kid over the fence. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Have a boy or a rough
Yeah.
girl.
They're rougher. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Wonderful. And so, yes, people at the beginning often wonder, like, oh, do they get to know your family as well? And here's a great example of that. Yes, I mean, they're going to trust you to carry their baby in your tummy for 9 months. And so you're trusting him to look after your kids too.
Exactly. Yeah. My kids, they call him Uncle Joel. My younger ones do.
Yep.
They don't remember life without him.
Agreed. Yeah. Okay. And then some other photos here, t-shirts that say transfer day. So all at the IVF clinic together.
Yeah, this was on our way to Hobart because it's like a 3 hour drive from Launceston. So Joel had to drive an hour and a half pretty much to me, and then we drove down to Hobart to do the transfer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it's a lot of logistics to fit into your life, isn't it?
Yes.
Happen.
Yeah.
And so many blood tests in the lead up.
Yes.
Mm. Okay, and then these photos are slightly out of order. So we've got, I think, like a pregnancy announcement here, and what I thought was initially a photo of a baby shower, but I hadn't looked closely to see that you're not pregnant. Yeah, tell us about the funny things that are happening in each of these photos.
So the photo of us announcing, I actually looked quite pregnant there because I was quite bloated from all the medication. So we took the opportunity to show off a bump that was only just forming. But that was the day that we got the call confirming that the pregnancy had worked.
Yes.
And then the other photo, since it wasn't my baby, I thought I'd have a nacho baby shower. But then I realized I can't drink. So we waited until Mason was born. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, then I had the nacho baby party. And it was also like my husband's birthday was coming up. So we just made it a big thing. It was my birthday was when I was pregnant. So we
Yeah.
thought we'll just join everything together, all the great things that are happening in our lives, celebrating that Mason's born, celebrating that we don't have a baby to look after, that we
Mhm.
still get our life back. And yeah, it was lots of fun.
And so who was there? Was it some of your friends and family and Joel?
Yeah, no, so we left Joel B. He was a new dad. He was too tired probably to even do that and socializing. And you don't want the baby to be touched by everyone and all that. So yeah, I just had all my neighbors came, which was nice. Lots of family and friends. But yeah, it was just good.
I don't know if you found it, but I found surrogacy hard once I had had the baby. Some people didn't know what to say to me. Like, did they say congratulations to me or not? But was that almost a chance for your neighbors and other friends and family to acknowledge this thing that you'd done?
Yeah, they could just see that I'm like, oh, yep, okay, she was pregnant the other day when I saw her when I was driving past. Now she's not. Like, it was good for them to see that, oh, she's not just making her big family even bigger.
Okay, just in case they were wondering. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, it looks like you've had some humor among your team and individually there, which is a great way to get through it. And
yeah.
then this looks like a popping a popper gender reveal, is it?
Yes, yeah.
And so did your kids were excited to do that with Joel as well?
Yes, they loved it. And some of them thought girls, some of them thought boys, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. And was this just in your backyard or were any of Joel's friends or family here?
No, we actually had the ABC do a story on us, so we actually had this more for that than anyone, just
Yeah.
so to show that we did it. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah, so people can Google you guys. You're very Googleable.
Yeah. Yeah. If you
And,
search Joel's name, you find if you search me, you probably find it too.
and that's how I found you both because of social
Yeah.
media through
Yeah.
Instagram. And I've seen you on TikTok too. We're going to come back and talk about that. And then that brings us to the day of birth, hey? What do you feel when you look back at these photos of, you having a baby and Joel becoming a dad?
Oh, it feels like yesterday in some ways. Like it amazes me that like Mason's 10 months old in a few days. And
Yeah,
I feel like this was just yesterday, but it also feel like it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But
yeah,
it was just like the perfect labor and just the perfect, like I was watching Joel with his baby. It was so cool. And knowing I didn't have to change any nappy.
absolutely. One of the questions that's been typed in, and was this sorrow birth healing for you from your daughter's birth, and did it give you the closure you were looking for?
Yes, it did. Like they listened to me. I got induced at 36. Oh, sorry, it's 37 weeks because I didn't want to go past that. I didn't give a backstory, but with my now nearly 9 year old, we had a placental abruption at 37 weeks. And then I didn't want to go past that. Like I knew my body wasn't safe to go past 37 weeks. So
Okay.
I had two more of my own children after that, and they were VBACs, and they came at 37 weeks. So
Yep.
when we were pregnant with Mason, I knew it would be better to have a baby born at 37 weeks than not have a baby born alive at all. So that was something I pushed at the whole pregnancy.
Hmm.
The hospital kept saying to me, we want to get you to 39 weeks, but I just, yeah, knew 37 weeks. And the hospital listened to me when we got to 36 and 6. I said, I need to be induced like by tomorrow. And luckily I started having contractions. And yeah, the 6 a.m. they came in to me. I was in the hospital already, and they said, let's go break your waters. And the only negative thing of this whole experience to me was I didn't think about time frame with my children. They were like 3 hours they were born. Mason, he took all day. They broke my
Right.
waters like I think 7:30, and then he was born at 7:30 in the evening. So I was just not prepared for the longer labor, which is still
Mm.
short for some people, but for me, going 3 hours to that was, yeah, the only thing that I would change. If we go again, I'd be more mindful of that.
Mm. If we go again, so there's plans
Yeah,
for that, yes?
there may be.
There
We'll
may
see.
be.
Yeah. Watch this space.
Excellent. We could have you back on in the future.
Yeah.
And then we move on to some photos, and this is photos of your husband holding Mason and one of your kiddos. I'm guessing it must be a lovely feeling to see the other people that you love in life, seeing this little boy carry on.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes, this is Ariella. She's my little girl that I needed to have a like better labor for. She's so excited. She loves Mason and Uncle Joel. She tells daycare that Uncle Joel's picking me up all the time when he's not, and they call me and they're like, "Is Uncle Joel coming?" I'm like, "No, he's not."
Not today.
And the picture of my husband, I like this picture because it's just him showing like he knows how to be a dad. Like I know how to hold a kid. This is how you hold him. Like he's just such a proud uncle.
Yeah, like that,
He's
what they call it, the
yeah.
football rugby hold or whatever.
Exactly. Well, he's from New Zealand. His family's over there.
Yep.
He's only got one sibling who doesn't have any children. So Joel's kind of taken in that brother role for Ryan as well. And
Yep.
yeah, it's pretty cool. I really like watching the bond between Joel and Ryan.
That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
and although you might have entered surrogacy for something that you wanted to do, you see this ripple effect of the friendships that get made.
Yeah, exactly.
And then to finish up, we've just got a couple of last photos here of the milk journey that you went on, expressing milk and doing that at all different times, yes?
Yes. So after Mason was born, I knew that I would have a not an empty feeling, but like a what's next. And I knew that people get like postnatal depression and I didn't want to have that experience. So the whole pregnancy, I was counting down to my pumping journey. I wanted to supply 12 months worth of milk for Mason if Joel was okay with that. Um, and that was my next journey. So I was just excited. Like I got the pump and then I'd try out the pump before I was meant to, just to see how it worked. Definitely not to bring on labor.
No.
Um, yeah, so I would be pumping every 2 hours. I'd pump while driving to work, as you can see in that photo. And the other photo, I was actually pumping, you can't tell, but I'm pumping while making donuts and not serving. I didn't want to serve while pumping, but yeah.
Wow. So, yes, if you're on the podcast listening, she's wearing an apron and a normal t-shirt, but underneath that is the pump. So,
Yeah.
wow, this is surrogates, right? Committed and crazy. And then our last photo here is, I guess, showing that catch-ups continue post-birth. What was the funny thing happening here?
So I had told Joel I'll come visit and drop off some milk. And this was, I think Mason was a few weeks old, maybe a month or more. I'm not sure. Um, and he said to me, "Oh, this is great when you come up. I've got something off Marketplace. I need you to help me get it. Bring the change of clothes." And I was thinking, like, what? And his brother was down from the mainland, so I was thinking, like, why can't I babysit like my sorrow bub that I never see, and you can go get the silly thing off Marketplace with him. And he was determined. He's like, "No, you're coming." And I was like, "What?" And then he got his brother to drive us. And I was like, if your brother's driving, it's like, how are we getting this thing back to your house? Like, what is it? Like a motorbike? Like, I don't understand. Anyway, we get dropped off. It starts to pour with rain. And yeah, he was buying a pedal cart. And so it was hilarious. We were both laughing the whole like ride home, and
Yes.
we'd forgotten that there was one section on the flat. It was all flat, but there was one section where there's like a crossing, a train crossing. So we had to like get off it and move it. But I didn't get off it first. I made him be the man and drag it around and stuff. But it was pouring with rain. But then we got back to his house, and his brother had to have a turn too. So I still got to babysit.
Oh, good.
But yeah, it was one of the funniest things. He had it as this like bonding moment, and I just was pissing myself laughing the whole time.
Well, that's great. Just on that, so have you had some time with Mason on your own, or was that important or
Um,
discussed?
well, like it's going to happen. I just live a very busy life. I've got like 3 jobs and 8 kids. And I've like looked after him here and there when Joel's ducked out to go to the shop or whatever. But hopefully when Mason's a bit bigger, he can come to a sleepover and the kids can bond. That's more important to me than now. Like he's not going to remember. We are going to go visit him on the weekend so the kids can see how big Mason is now and we can bond. But I don't know, I focus on my friendship with Joel more. Like I miss the time I had with him in the hospital because he was my support person during the labor, and then he got to stay in the hospital with me. We had a shared room. We had the option, I think, the next day to be in separate rooms, and we both were like, no, we connected so well. It was like my big brother. It was
Yeah.
just yeah, it was probably my favorite thing for the whole journey. Apart from giving him his baby, I just loved the connection I had with him and having like a best mate.
Yeah. And that to me is that for my whole journey too. And then like I had postnatal depression after it too. And so that was horrible. But for me, it was that week post-birth. And when we were so near to each other and in this bubble of this thing that we had done together and that intense period of time you get to spend together, that was the highlight. Not just the birth, but yeah, it was that time together. So hearing
Yeah.
you talk about that, just to tell it
Yeah, that,
brings me
that
back to it.
bubble.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
bubble.
I miss that bubble so much.
Mm. Hence why you might do it again.
Yeah.
Might just be hard with the second kid, but
Yes.
I'm going to stop sharing the screen there. So now it goes back to full versions of us. And I'll just do a little bit of housekeeping and say to anybody, you're welcome to leave the webinar whenever you need, but we'll continue chatting for a little bit longer. I'm aware of the time though, so I don't want to keep Jess all night, but I think she's enjoying chatting and we are. Whoever, I'm guessing it's one anonymous person because you are typing in fantastic questions. Can you please come back to every webinar? Because sometimes it's quiet on the questions. We may or may not get through them all, but these are wonderful questions. So I'm just having a skim through. I'm going to answer one anonymous question quickly about SASS. It says, with SASS, do surrogates get all the IPs in waiting profiles, or is there a method applied in making available certain profiles? Great question. I admittedly do a little bit of suggested filtering. She does get access to them all, yes. But for example, if a surrogate says she wants IPs who live locally to her, I'm going to recommend she looks at those in the state that she is. If she particularly wants to carry for gay IPs or a straight couple, then I'm going to make recommendations based on that. If she wants IPs who have actually already had a child before, I'll make recommendations. So she gets access to them all. And then IPs also get a chance to look at her profile when she picks them, because she might not be the right fit for you as the IPs. And so that's your opportunity to have a chance to get that say. And that has happened once. For medical reasons of some sort, that the IPs actually declined a surrogate, but most times they say yes there. Um, okay, what do I want to ask you here, Jess, from all the wonderful questions that have come through? Is there something that springs to mind about the easiest or hardest thing about being a surrogate or an egg donor?
Um, the hardest thing, apart from like with the surrogate, the hardest thing was like obviously the pregnancy. Um, but also I didn't want to let Joel down, or I didn't want to have like bad news for him or anything like that. Like if there wasn't like movement, I would just panic, like, oh no, like, and I don't know, I didn't want to disappoint him was my main thing.
So yeah, it really meant
Yeah.
a lot to you as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was it hard carrying a baby that wasn't yours, especially having and loving so many of your own?
No, it was probably easier knowing I didn't have to look after a kid at the end. Like after giving birth, I was like, oh, I don't have to like look after a baby as well. Like it was like, that was probably the exciting part. Like I could go into auntie mode, which when Mason was born, the first thing I think a lot of surrogates will think is, oh, like they're done with me. Um, if that like that crossed my mind, I was like, well, what do I do now? Like he's got the baby, like not him thinking negative of me, but me going like, where do I stand now? Like I've
Mm,
offered to supply the milk, but he could be like, oh no, I just use formula. So I wasn't sure. I remember just sitting there like, obviously I was still like not wearing clothes or anything, and he's there looking at his baby, which was so cute. But I'm like, what do I do now? And I was waiting for the epidural to wear off, so I think I had this time to think. But then once we moved to the beds, and he would like ask me a question because I'm a mum and I've done this 100 times. I was like, oh, like I can be an auntie. Like he's not going to think I'm trying to be a mum. So yeah,
mm.
just finding that rhythm.
That's really valuable to hear. I think, yeah,
Yeah,
that balance, that dynamic.
yeah.
We had mentioned before about you being on social media, and that's where I came across you. And then at the birth in particular, I remember seeing on socials a little video that you had posted with some classic, slightly crazy surrogate humor. Can you tell me about that video, Jess? And what is it that you said there to Joel?
People that use TikTok, like there's different sounds on there, and there was one sound I found that I was like, oh my God, I need to use this when I do like the most important bit of the surrogacy journey to me was handing the baby. I didn't want anyone else to hand Mason child, had to be me. So no one,
Mhm.
he couldn't touch Mason until I had given him his child.
Yep.
And yeah, I found this sound that says, you left this in my vagina. Um, and so I really wanted to say that, and I hadn't told Joel, and he was obviously in like his happy, like bubbly, like, oh my God, I just got a kid moment. So I said it to him, he didn't hear it, but I made sure it was filmed, and so I
Yes.
could play it back to him later.
So you left this in my vagina.
Yeah.
As I said, surrogates are a bit crazy, right? It's,
Yeah, we
it was
are.
all planned. That's fantastic. And I think that's part of it, that surrogates, it's not hard to hand over the baby because it's not a surprise when we get to that point. We've been
No,
planning this whole thing for a year or two. Uh,
exactly.
yeah. And obviously, partners, or husband in your case, come along for the ride. It's initially your idea. There's a question that has been typed in. How was hubby with you caring for another guy? So, yeah, was your husband initially a bit hesitant about surrogacy?
Um, Not like about carrying another guy wasn't really an issue for him. He didn't understand how IVF worked to begin with. Um, so he had to learn about how I'd become pregnant, that it involved like going to the clinic and that kind of thing.
Yep.
Um, Especially because it wasn't my egg, so that was obviously the only way to do it. But yeah, his mind, he didn't know that yet.
Sure.
Um, but I think he loved that it was for a guy because he could get like a brother, a mate. Like they could both bag me out. They can pick on Jess.
Right. Okay. So over time, that you've become a good team there. Well, what?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, no, you go. You go.
Once Mason was born, though, I think that was an eye opener for my husband and for me, like, no, and for Joel. Like, none of us knew what it would be like for Joel to have a baby. We hadn't obviously been surrogates before and been through this journey. But
Mm,
yeah, seeing Joel with Mason and then just that bond, and then us being auntie and uncle, Ryan actually being able to be an uncle, like for the first time. Like, I've got one brother who's got two daughters, but they were not babies when he met them as much, although young. But yeah, we didn't
yeah.
really bond with my brother's kids as much as we get to with Mason.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Yeah.
it's an extended family in some ways.
Yeah.
And then speaking of family, how did your friends and family react to you being a surrogate? Did you have any negativity or any support they were able to help with?
Most people were like, "Oh, that's so typical Jess. Like she loves helping people, that kind of thing." I did have one friend that to this day I still don't know why, but I thought she was one of my closest friends, and she just one day told me she can't be a part of this chapter of my life. So once Mason was born, I thought, "Oh, chapter's over." And yeah, I've just heard from her recently, and she said, "Not like she can't continue the friendship." So I'm not sure what happened.
Wow.
I don't know what happened, and like she's meant to be like a godmother, like an extra auntie to one of my kids. So yeah, I'm never gonna know. But I've gained Joel, and I've gained all the sorrow sisters that I've got. So many close friends now that
Mm.
it still upsets me, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you for
Yeah.
that. Sorry that happened. Well, speaking of your surrogate sisters, yes, tell us about the community so that you found other surrogates to connect with that not necessarily in Tasmania, but some who were often pregnant at a similar time to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell us about the community you found there.
When I was pregnant with Mason, there was a surrogacy retreat being organised, and it was going to be in Tassie, and
Yes.
that's where I am. So that was amazing. So I got to meet other surrogates or people that are wanting to be surrogates or have been a surrogate. Um, and I didn't get to hear really anyone's story, which was one thing I wished I'd like heard more. But wasn't enough time, and there were so many of us. But it was just so nice to be somewhere where no one's going to get sick of me talking about it. Like, oh,
Yes.
Jess, you've already talked about it. Can we talk about something else now? Like my husband, it's not like obviously a passion for him. He's
Mm.
got his own passion, so he'd get over me talking about it. But yeah, when I was at this retreat, there was never a time that someone would go, "I'll stop talking about surrogacy," because that's what we were all connected with. And
Mm.
then from there, um, there's the Facebook page we've got just for surrogates, so we all connect on there. And so we're all posting like when we're pregnant or whatever. So I found a few of us were due similar times, and then I'd chat to them, and then one of us would start a group chat, and it just went from there. And then we've all had our journeys, had our babies now, and then we're still connecting through that. And I was lucky enough I've met the four main girls I talked to. Four, no, I'm number four. Three main girls I talked to. I've met them all now. So yeah, I met one um, a few months ago, and then I met two more just the last week. So
Yes, because you
yeah,
joined us on the Zoom, one of the Zoom catch-ups, and you were at
yes,
our house up in Queensland.
yeah.
Surrogate Bree was there too, so that's lovely. So I guess you've witnessed the surrogacy community now through surrogates and others over the last year or so, and this possibly ties into the last question that's been typed in there, where we've said we've mentioned that a few teams have broken down. What's the main reason this happens? So yeah, what have you observed from the community about, I guess,
I
the breaking down?
I think that the main thing is like to be honest. Don't try and keep your surrogate happy. That that it just annoys me that
Right.
people like think that like as an IP,
Yeah.
like be honest and also trust us because we've had kids like we know more. That sounds we know more than what you know. So that like trust us a bit. Like I don't know, but yeah, communication and be honest and set like don't judge each other. Just listen to each other, which is really hard even in general in life with friendships and marriages and children and everything. So yeah, it's just yeah, make sure you're open about things. If you need to have a third person, like do the counselling.
Yeah. And I suppose sometimes talk about issues when they're small, even if you
Yeah.
I won't bring it up, I might upset them, be that the surrogate or IPs. We don't want things festering, do we?
Yeah. Even if things are small to begin with, yeah, we need to talk about them. 'Cause well, it could be small to me, but it's like not small for you, and we'd never know. But
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
And if you don't tell us, we won't know. Mm,
yes.
good advice there. Well, to wrap it up, I'm just going to mention that in the chat there, your husband, I believe, has joined us here tonight, and he says, Jess is absolutely amazing. She was donating milk to triplets in Tasmania also.
Oh
Amazing.
yes, yeah. I pumped 300 liters in 5 months, and that was enough for Mason and for some triplets as well.
Well done, you. So yeah,
Yeah.
although you pumped for 5 months, it was enough to last Mason for the 12.
Yeah, so I was talking to Joel today, and he's turned off a freezer. He's emptied one, but he's still got some milk there, so that's good.
Wow, amazing. And to sum it up there, is there anything else that you would like to say that we haven't covered in your journey or any parting advice for anybody?
I don't think so. My main thing is that, as you've mentioned, like they trust us for 9 months to grow their child. We're trusting them to continue to show us their family as it grows. Like
Mm.
getting photos and videos means lots to us, and
Yeah.
and updates and stuff. Like especially without us even asking, it's just like, oh yeah, I helped make that family, and they've thought of us, like their kids taking their first step, and they've thought of telling us, like it's not our child, but all those milestones, like all those first things, first day at daycare or first time they're trying lemons. That's one of the ones that we always do to our kids, filming them try lemons.
Yes.
But yeah, just that yeah, we get payment in seeing your life, seeing your journey as a parent.
Oh, spot on. Yeah, we get payment in seeing you become parents. It's not just that birth moment, isn't it? It's that on
No,
payment that we get to see.
yeah,
And sometimes it's not just seeing the kid. I find sometimes it's seeing the parents being parent or parent with
exactly.
the kid because it's like we help to make you a parent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I sometimes will ask Joel, I'm like, send me a photo. And he thinks I mean of Mason. I'm like, no, of you. Like, are you alive?
yes, and Joel being a single dad, as I've followed him on
Yeah.
social, he's gotten quite good at having perhaps putting the camera in certain places, just capture these photos of him
Yeah.
when he is a dad. Yeah.
Yeah. It's time just goes so fast.
Mm,
Before you know it, I've got my eldest, he's 19. Like, if he was like yesterday that he was born and now he's, yeah, 19. It's crazy.
yes. Well, well done. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing that story. That was wonderful. Well, I'll sum it up, everybody, and say thank you for joining us. There's a webinar in 2 weeks' time. As we've said, Joel is coming on, last one for the year. So come and join us for that. Cheer him on, ask your questions, and subscribe to the podcast series to catch these episodes as well. If you've still got lots of unanswered questions or would like them answered privately, consider joining SASS to be connected with a mentor so you can have your questions answered in a one-on-one setting. And also, as I said, next Friday night in between the webinars is one of our Zoom catch ups. So be brave and come along. Dates for that are on our website, or you might be part of a monthly newsletter that I send out as well. I like to say, let's change the world one conversation at a time so we can educate more people about how surrogacy works in Australia. It can be a very lonely and overwhelming journey at all stages, but there is plenty of support in the village if you go looking for it. And as the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. And in the case of surrogacy, it takes a village to make a child. So, welcome to the village, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.